Welcome to the Sweet Spot 2014.
The Sweet Spot.
A half hour of special guests, arch opinions from my colleague Tony Scott.
And Oscar magic, the way only we can do it.
It has been, by any objective standard, a wonderful year for movies, yes?
By any objective standard. What does that even mean?
You're a critic.
Any
Don't
objective standard.
push back.
I have my standards.
Okay, subjectively, it's been a wonderful year in film. And traditionally, when it's a good year in movies, what do we get? A good Oscar show, yes?
Yeah, I think we might get a good one. I think we might get a good one this year, which will make it different for us, because we've, in the past, we've suffered through some difficult ones.
So cynical. There's only one thing that would make this year's Oscars better. You guys filling out a ballot. Have you filled out your ballot?
I filled out my ballot.
Okay, it's
I'm gonna
very
get you
important.
this time.
You can't win if you don't play. So fill out your ballot. Start with Best Picture. There's 3 clear favorites, yes?
Yeah, I would say there's 9 nominees. There's always tons of nominees because everyone gets a
It's like Montessori. Everybody gets a chance.
But everyone knows that, yeah, there are 3. There's American Hustle, 12 Years a Slave, and Gravity, based on everything that's happened in the guilds and all of the tea leaves that have been read. Those 3 seem to be the ones that are in serious contention.
But we really don't know what's going to happen this year. Do you?
No, I don't know what's going to happen this year. But let's step back for a minute, because of those 3 and of those 9, those represent a rather, as you were saying, extraordinary year, 2013, when there were an awful lot of good motion pictures coming out into the theaters and making their way in the world.
So 12 Years a Slave, the strong American history lesson that doesn't feel like a history lesson.
Yes, the serious movies, serious topic, very accomplished acting, the movie that some people have maybe shied away from because it feels like a kind of a duty to go see it. It's actually, I think, a really good movie. I mean, it really,
go see it. It's not like homework. It's a great movie.
No, it's very emotionally compelling, very strong filmmaking, a really satisfying movie.
So Gravity, kind of a small story, really, but told in gigantic ways.
Yeah, and the one that is for the visual film geeks. It's just such an extraordinary piece of kinetic visual art, just watching all that stuff fly through the air in 3 dimensions. The feeling of being lost in infinite space or stuck in a tiny little capsule with George Clooney and Sandra Bullock.
Outer space, Sandra Bullock, George Clooney, what's not to like?
Yeah,
right?
How can you lose with that?
And I'm a little sweet on American Hustle, I gotta admit.
Well, American Hustle, I mean, just for you know, I know how you like to dress. I know how you like to do your hair.
My comb over.
I know you're a man of the '70s at heart.
Now that's kind of mean, I gotta say. A man of the '70s. They make it look pretty darn cool.
Yeah, they make it look fun to take bribes from politicians.
But it's Bradley Cooper and Christian Bale. And Amy Adams and Jennifer Lawrence.
Yes.
They can make anything look cool.
Yeah,
right?
and they're in all 4 of the acting categories, which is a rather extraordinary.
So we're going to see them tonight. And for those of you watching at home, that's all of you, right? There's some cues that you'll get about.
Yeah, there are some things that that will let us know maybe where the night's going.
Like.
Well, if in some of those early acting awards, if American Hustle starts to gather some momentum, David O. Russell, I think, loves actors, and they love him back.
Oh my gosh! You want to know how to watch the show.
Yes.
You want to know. Well, there's a build over time, and so if we see, say, Gravity winning a bunch of early technical awards, maybe it's going to be Alfonso Cuarón's night.
It could be his night. It could be Steve McQueen's night for 12 Years a Slave, which
would be a moment of history. Yes?
That would be a moment of history for the Academy to recognize a black director for the first time, a movie about the black experience in America. I mean, I think we should say that of those 9 that are nominated for Best Picture, really we're talking about 3: American Hustle, Gravity, and 12 Years.
And if American Hustle is going to gain traction, Gravity and I think 12 Years are the favorite.
Yeah.
But the one that could go up the middle, maybe, American Hustle. And the way you, the audience, would figure that out is they've been nominated in all 4 acting categories.
Very unusual.
Yes.
Yeah.
30 years, nobody got nominated in all 4 categories. Last year, there was a film by the same guy, David O. Russell, got nominated in all 4 categories. And if Jennifer Lawrence starts going and picking up some hardware, or Bradley Cooper. Yeah. Early on, you go, hey, maybe it's American Hustle's night. But what do we know? We're just sitting here.
There is an expert in this building. There is someone who actually does follow this and knows what she's talking about.
I managed to grab Melena Ryzik before she headed out to Los Angeles to finish off yet another Oscar season. She's been deep in the carpet. I mean, really deep. And she had some insights she was happy to share with me. So, Melena, you almost made it. A couple days away of the Oscars. Are you going to carb load? Are you going to eat your Wheaties? Are you going to burn some sage? What is the prep actually?
All of the above. I'm practicing my red carpet stance, waiting to yell celebrity names out at people.
I don't think I'd like to try and beat you at the carpet. You've gotten pretty good at it. There's an actual race on this year, yes. 12 Years a Slave, Gravity, American Hustle. Does it make it funner when there's a big foot race like this?
Absolutely. It's hard to know who's going to win. Usually by this point in the season, I am pretty sure who's going to take home all the big prizes. And this year I really got a lot of work to do to figure out who's going to go home with the gold.
Movies require a bit of storytelling. So in Gravity, people say, oh, that would never happen in space, or 12 Years a Slave. Well, it happened this way, it didn't happen that way. American Hustle, they invoke ab-scam. Has there been a lot of that nonsense going on this year?
Every time you have a movie that's based in fact, the thing that people like to do at the end of the campaign is you start hearing these little whispers, people saying, well, it didn't really happen this way. You know, Matthew McConaughey's character in Dallas Buyers Club, he wasn't actually straight, maybe he was gay. The facts of ab-scam are not exactly at all what happens.
Russell get around a little
bit? He did. He was really smart in American Hustle. The movie starts with this title card that says some of this actually happened. So he knows exactly what to do to avoid that kind of whisper campaign.
You mentioned Dallas Buyers Club, and we've seen a lot of Matthew McConaughey. Has it been fun to watch him work this season?
Oh yeah, he is a delight. I mean, I think people are really responding to his performance, and they're responding to him as a person, because we feel like we've seen him move as an actor from all right, all right, all right, to this really serious actor, and we maybe didn't know that he had it in him, and now he does.
You enjoy your life, little lady. You only got one.
As somebody who's watched a little bit, but not as closely as you, I've also noticed Lupita. It's kind of hard to take her eyes off her.
Yeah, I mean, she's an amazing actress, and she has the kind of narrative that people in the Academy and everybody really responds to. I mean, how could you not? It's her first movie role. She got the part. She auditioned right out of Yale. So to see her rise to this level is pretty impressive.
And for that, I will be clean. That's all I am.
The movie that she's in, 12 Years a Slave, is certainly, every year's got a big, important historical theme to it. But this one carries a little bit of history with it because the director, Steve McQueen, is black. And as far as I remember, the Academy has never given Best Director to a black director. Is that true?
That's true, and it certainly hasn't given Best Picture to a movie helmed by a black director, let alone a movie that's really about the black experience in America. So it really could be a point of history on a lot of levels. So
12 Years a Slave, do you see it as a favorite?
It certainly has among the most nominations for a movie, but it's hard to say. You know, one of the weird things about the Oscar campaign, as you probably remember, is nobody likes to be considered the favorite. They like to be the underdog, absolutely.
Everyone is the underdog.
That's right, right. They all have to have a come from behind kind of narrative to win.
So if people are watching the show, what's the one thing they should keep an eye on in terms of like how things might end up going?
Well, you never know the way the Oscars structure the rollout of the awards. You don't necessarily know how it's going to go. But a movie like Gravity, the conventional wisdom is that it has a lot of love from the below the line categories, below the line guilds.
Because
in the
it's
Academy.
Such a technical
Exactly.
achievement.
So if you see it losing out in those awards, which are usually presented early on, you know, like the sound editing, the sound mixing, cinematography, editing, if it doesn't win those kind of awards, then it might not be a big night for Gravity.
So Gravity might end up falling to earth.
Absolutely. I don't think that's going to happen, though.
You don't?
No.
Okay, I'll be watching along with everyone else. Thanks a lot, Melena.
Thank you.
The thing about Melena that is amazing is she actually sometimes looks like she belongs on the carpet. Back when I had that job, security often notified, there's a homeless man loose on the carpet. I've been thrown off the Academy Award carpet.
No, but she's just as glamorous as anyone out there.
And seems to know a lot about what's going on. I'm sure everybody's got their favorites this year, like in Best Actor. Who are you picking?
Well, Best Actor is a really interesting category. I'm going with Leo DiCaprio.
What?
No, I don't think he's going to win, but I sort of think he should, because I think that
Well, we're going to have a side bet, no money involved, of course. So I'm happy for you to go with your heart and be dead wrong.
No, it's going to be Matthew McConaughey. It's going to be Matthew McConaughey.
McConaughey, and you know what? I didn't really even like the movie.
No, but you know, you lose a lot of weight. You play a mean guy who turns into a nice guy. You're in a drama. You're suffering from a terrible disease.
Like I did for this little show we're making right now. Nobody's going to give me one of these babies.
Not to be cynical, but you know, you need to win this award. Generally, it helps if you perform and endure. But there were some good. I mean, there are a lot of great performances that were left out of that, of those, like Robert Redford and all of us.
I'm sad about that.
Without speaking a word, you know, just him and the ocean and the boat. There was Oscar Isaacs playing his guitar in Llewyn Davis. That was wonderful and lovely. Joaquin Phoenix.
Phoenix and
falling in love with his phone, selling that he's in love with his little iPhone.
He had to walk around with the phone and like.
He had to do a sex scene with an operating system. No one's ever done that before on screen. That's extraordinary.
Bold new ground.
How they're treating themselves.
With what?
Vitamins, peptide T, DDC, anything but that poison you're hawking.
Supporting actor, what do you think there? That's probably going to be Dallas Buyers Club also, right? Because
Jared Leto. You put on a pair of high heels. I'm telling you.
Yes. No. And you play the sort of the tragic queen. I mean, I don't think either one of us are great fans of that movie. I have to say, Jared Leto's performance.
I've seen a lot of films like it on Lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. There's that, but then
I don't want to spoil the mood. The movies are insanely good this year.
Yes,
and I'm hoping the Oscars will be great. And I can't get behind it.
Bless your little heart.
Actress. Now here we have the Meryl Streep slot, because if Meryl Streep is in a movie, she's going to get nominated.
And this one, she picked up gigantic pieces of scenery and just started chewing through them systematically.
Well, that's one where I think if they gave the award for most acting, she would. If it was quantitative, she does more acting. You know, she smokes a cigarette, she picks at her nails, she adjusts her wig. That's acting.
Right.
But what do you think? I mean, do you think it'll be Cate Blanchett in that one?
I guess so. I think it's an interesting year because, like every year, there's takes on what it's like to be rich, right?
Yes.
So we had Wolf of Wall Street, right?
Yep.
You have Blue Jasmine, who, you know, it has its own controversies because it was made by Woody Allen.
Yes.
But she's somebody who used to be rich, and it's like watching a woman fall down a staircase in a very elegant and beautiful way, because it is Cate Blanchett, after all.
I think it might be Amy Adams, though. I think Amy Adams as a woman who is aspiring to be rich. I mean, I think that performance, of all of the performances in American Hustle, I felt like Amy Adams was the one that really carried the complicated emotions of that movie.
I remember both her performance and her dress in that film very vividly, I gotta say.
Maybe I do like him. Maybe I like him a lot.
And supporting actress. I mean, supporting actress, we have another thing that often happens, which is the birth of a new star. You have Lupita Nyong'o.
Wherever she went this year, and Melena and I talked about this, who is that?
Yeah, she's.
It comes off a beautiful, beautiful performance. But the other thing, J-Law, Jennifer Lawrence, she was up there last year. She fell down on the way up. It was exciting.
Yes.
And, you know, she wears her fame like a loose garment. And people adore working with her. People adore watching her. So you wonder if the Academy maybe wants to just get her up to the mic one more time.
I would not count out one more. June Squibb in Nebraska. Just
all you critics love that performance.
Oh, my God. Well, if you have an old lady talking dirty, I mean, you know, that's gold.
You know what we call that where I'm from? Dinner.
Mom.
So mean. Mrs. Epps won't even grab me no soap to clean with. I stink so much I make myself gag.
on Monday morning, when the dust is all settled, there are going to be a lot of arguments going on about, you know, whether the right picture won or the wrong actress or whatever. There are always arguments afterwards, but there are also a lot of arguments beforehand. I mean, there's been some controversy around some of these nominees coming into the show and going through
everything from Twitter to the trade press to even the New York Times is full of campaigning, counter-campaigning. People look at the gowns and look at the party and think, that's great. You know what? Oscar's a fight, a little bit of a wrestling match. And people don't mess around. One of the ways that they do it is by ginning up controversy. Yep. You know what? I got to say, it takes some of the fun out of it. You're kind of an Oscar sourpuss, yes?
Well, partly for just that reason. I feel like all of the interesting stuff that we should be talking about is being kind of just sort of collapsed. And
you think people should only go to movies and read your reviews and leave it at that?
They don't even have to go to the movies necessarily.
Okay, of course not.
But you know, it's not just these sort of these big Hollywood movies that are getting all the attention. One of the things that I really like about Oscars is that the show brings attention to other movies that haven't been kind of hyped out of all measure. So, for example, there's the foreign language film category, you know, where you get 5 carefully selected gems of world cinema that are contending for their moment in the Oscars.
It's a secret shame of mine. I'm not going to tell anyone except you. I haven't seen them.
Well, I talked with someone who has seen them and had a lot to say about them. That was our colleague Larry Rohter, who covers the foreign language Oscar beat better than anyone else in the world. So now, foreign language films, this is always a little bit mysterious because there are some very elaborate rules and cuts. And so, you know, the foreign language film that everyone seemed to be talking about and seeing last year, Blue is the Warmest Color from France, wasn't even eligible to be on the series of shortlists, much less in the top 5. So what exactly, how does it work in this?
It all has to do with the release date in the home country. And that's why both France and China submitted films that were probably not their best chance to win.
And each country only gets 1, right?
Right, exactly. Unlike the Golden Globes, where the rules are different. And this year is interesting also because there's no clear front runner. Right. The last 2 years, it was obvious from September pretty much who was going to win. You know, 2 years ago it was Asghar Farhadi's A Separation. Last year it was Michael Haneke's Amour.
Amour, yeah.
And this year it's a horse race.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and a lot of the films have not been widely seen and are not widely known. I guess with the exception of The Great Beauty, La Grande Bellezza from Italy, which critics have been in rapture about ever since it showed up in Cannes.
Right. So, although some hate it too, right?
Yes, so but it's certainly, I mean, it's quite something to look at.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just, you know, the clothes are pretty great. What are the others?
Well, the rest of the field, you have 2 more European films, one from Belgium, Broken Circle Breakdown, and The Hunt from Denmark with Mads Mikkelsen, hot actor, and then 2 other films, one from the Palestinian territories, Omar, and then a Cambodian documentary called The Missing Picture.
Now, why did that one get in Best Foreign Language rather than in documentary? I mean, it's a very unusual kind of documentary. It's using figurines, claymation figurines instead of people. But it is a documentary. It is a true story.
I mean, there's 2 versions of it. One with an English narration, one with a French narration. And the English language narration version got passed over in the doc category, but in the foreign language category, I mean, again, it's a very powerful film. It's about the Cambodian mass killings made by Rithipan, a survivor of that, and it's just extremely powerful.
What do you think? I mean, how would you handicap the field, given that, you know, as you say, unlike in the past couple of years, there's not a clear, obvious favorite that seems locked in? Where do you think it might go?
Yeah, I still think that the front runner would have to be La Grande Bellezza. As you said, it's just gorgeous to look at. It's got a Fellini-esque story, and Rome has never looked more beautiful. So all of those things, I think, work in its favor. But both the other 2 European films, I mean, the Belgian film has this volcanic performance by the lead actress, Valerie Batens, if I'm saying her name right. And as I said, you know, Mads Mikkelsen is a hot actor.
Hannibal,
Right, right. So who knows, you know?
All right, well, we'll see. We'll know soon enough.
So through the magic of Oscar, we're going to have a big spotlight shine on, you know, smaller films. But let's be honest. As the night progresses, we're going to be thinking over and over, teasing apart the leaves and wondering what's going to win Best Picture.
What do you first? You first.
You know what? I'm just going to say it. I think American Hustle's going right up the middle.
You think it's going to be American Hustle? All right, why? Why?
You know what? It's so actory, it's so wild, and so fun. And it's like, what is going to happen next? Probably going to be wrong about that because probably the bigger cinematic accomplishment lies with the other films. But you know what? Hustle was so much fun.
Well, I don't know. I've been kind of going back and forth because I feel like there's a good chance that it'll be 12 Years a Slave. But I also have this feeling that it might end up being Gravity. And for some of the same reasons that you're talking about with American Hustle is that the filmmaking accomplishment there, the fun, the fact that I think there's a lot of goodwill toward the people involved and people really like Alfonso Cuarón, they adore Sandra Bullock, they like George Clooney. Well, that could sneak through. You know, also.
In a way, honoring Gravity, you see a way forward of making movies that are big and spectacular and exciting and multi-generational, and did a lot of box office, and Hollywood's not immune to that.
Yeah, and Gravity is about just the sort of the awe and wonder. It takes you back in a way to the earliest days of cinema where it was just a kind of this
how'd they do that?
How'd they do that? Yeah.
The thing is, if you're looking for the highest emotional content, probably 12 Years a Slave, because there you're going to have a moment when you see an accomplished black director up there having taken custody of the slave narrative and rendered it in a way that really can't be denied. And it's in a year when there was a lot of great cinema that carried black themes with the Fruitvale Station, The Butler, and 12 Years a Slave. And this would be a recognition of the black director as storyteller, as custodian of their own narrative.
Well, and that is what I hope happens. But what I kind of think will happen is that it will, that once again, the Academy will sort of pivot away from that kind of moment and that kind of reckoning toward something that may be a little easier.
Houston, this is Mission Specialist Ryan Stone. I am off structure and I'm drifting. Do you copy?
I'm noticing that you're kind of excited about the Oscars this year, which
well, sure.
I'm not really used to.
Well, it's just because I get to spend the evening with you.
And Sandra Bullock, and Jennifer Lawrence, and Bradley Cooper.
And Ellen DeGeneres. The show is just about to start, and there's going to be lots of amazing clothes and songs. And
the music's going to be amazing.
I think the music could be good, and I think there could be some big surprises. I mean,
although if I hear that Frozen song one more time, I might.
Oh, you're going to hear it. You're going to hear it plenty more. You're going to hear it in
maybe
your
it'll be sung by
dreams.
Bono.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think that's on
Here's the thing. We are deeply honored. People could have been seeing Jennifer Lawrence on the carpet. They could see the Cloonmeister, George Clooney. Instead, they've chosen to spend quality time with us.
There's no accounting for tastes.
There's the Oscars. There's our versions of the Oscars. We're going to be cracking wise during the Oscars. We have a live blog. Finish your ballots. You've got very little time. And we'll be keeping track and deciding who's going to own all these Oscars.
All right.